everyone, welcome to this channel. I am Great, and in today's video we're going to be doing somewhat of a follow-up video to my previous content called You're a People Pleaser. If you haven't checked it out yet, make sure you do check it out. I was basically identifying why you don't have to, be a people pleaser, always have to please people, and probably why you're doing it. But in today's video, like I said, I'm just going to be doing a follow-up on how to, identify how you're being a people pleaser and how to avoid being a people pleaser moving forward, and just to be a better person for yourself and for your soul. Okay, so without further ado, let's get straight into the first way to avoid being a people pleaser and just to bring yourself back into your authentic self. The first thing you want to do is to be aware of how you're being a people pleaser. I feel like being aware of a problem is the beginning of the solution to the problem. So once you're aware of yourself, that okay, am I being a people pleaser? Was I excessively involving myself just now? Once you're aware of that, you're able to break the chains to being a people pleaser and just being a better person overall. So once you've identified and you've become aware of the fact that you might be a people pleaser, the next thing you want to do is set boundaries. I believe this is one of the most important things you can do for yourself, even outside of the topic that we're discussing today, is to set healthy boundaries for yourself. Healthy boundaries at work, with family, with friends, with foes, anybody really, because once you have boundaries, it actually shows some type of self-love and self-care for yourself. It shows where people can cross and where they can't cross. It shows that you even respect yourself and give yourself validation outside of everybody else. So the next thing you want to do is set healthy boundaries. Let people know where to stop when it comes to you, what you're willing to take and not take. This way you're able to avoid conflicts, you're able to avoid guilt on the inside, you're able to avoid negative thinking about yourself. So once you have healthy boundaries, it just sets the tone on how people will treat you and how you want to be treated. So the next point I want to talk about is saying no. It kind of ties into setting boundaries. You don't always have to say yes to everything. You don't always have to attend parties you're invited to. You don't always have to say yes to things that especially make you feel uncomfortable. I mentioned this in the last video upload as well. I'll definitely leave the link down below or insert a card over here. So you always don't have to say no to everything, especially if it makes you feel like you want to scream on the inside. If, let's say, Janet calls you and say, hey, I quickly have to run an errand, do you mind babysitting my kid for me quickly? I won't take long. And you've already again made other responsibilities, probably for your future, and probably you're always there for Janet. You're probably always there for Janet every now and again, but it's okay to stand your ground and say, Janet, I love my niece, I love my cousin, I love your child, but at the moment it's impossible for me to make that sacrifice because I have other things lined up. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with saying no once in a while, especially if it benefits you in the long run. So the next point I'd like to touch on is only offer help when you are asked for it. One thing, like I mentioned earlier in the previous video also, was that people pleasers tend to involve themselves way too much. They tend to offer help when they shouldn't, even going beyond their own boundaries again, like going out of their way to insert themselves rather into other people's lives. You don't always have to offer help. Being a good person and being a nice person is two different things. And if you've noticed, being a nice person, it's almost like, for example, a call center agent. They have to be nice to you. It's their job. It's part of their job. It has to be one of their personality. They have to be people. They have to be aware of people and be able to please people. And that's almost like forced. But being a good person, it's who you are. It's part of your personality. It's part of your core value to be a good person. However, you don't always have to offer help. Let them ask you for help, and you don't always again have to say yes to helping them, especially if you have to go out of your way to make them happy, to make them feel satisfied, to be accepted. We're not doing that no more, sis. We're not doing that no more, bro. You understand? So you don't always have to offer help. Let them ask for help, and if it's not going to be an inconvenience to you, then go ahead and, you know, help them. But you don't always have to ask people if they need help. Like, you're not working at a retail store. And no offense to people who do, but I hope you get what I'm trying to say, in the sense that sometimes when you think you're offering help, you think you're being nice and that you're going to be repaid back for being a nice person. It's not always the case. So I'm just saying. So the very last point that I have for this video, which is not the least, because the list goes on and on, is to love yourself. Self-love builds up growth, builds up your personality, builds up your presence. It sets the tone for how you want to be treated, for how people should respect you. Once you put yourself first in cases where you normally wouldn't, it sets the tone for how people will treat you. It sets the tone for how you want to be perceived. Hell, it sets the tone for how you want to be approached. So part of leaving behind a toxic trait of being a people pleaser is literally loving yourself. It's that simple. So that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure you check the first clip to this video and the follow-up video, and I hope to bring in more content like this. I usually make fitness and fashion content as well as vlogs, so do make sure you check those out as well. I'd really appreciate it if you leave me a comment about how you're getting over people pleasing, or just getting over toxic situations where you found yourself in, or just leave me mountain emojis in the comment for me to know that you made it this far in the video. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to subscribe for more content like this, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.